Well, after the whole gummy bear thing, Ollie started to get a reputation as somebody that knew how to fight giant monsters, which was not quite what Ollie got into the private eye game to do, but, business is business. If people are calling, he's going to answer. And he did find that he could charge kind of a premium for fighting giant monsters. So even though that really wasn't, his primary skill set, it wasn't bad to have on the old website. And this happened, again, maybe 4 months after the gummy bear monster. It wasn't in Baltimore. It was down at a city called Newport News, which is in Virginia. And it's a city, it's on the water. Yeah, just listen, honey. Just listen, honey. He got a call. And I said, hey, my name is Joe Smith. I'm the mayor of Newport News, and we've got a problem. There's this big, crazy robot, and it's freezing the city. And I know we heard about your thing in Baltimore, and can you help us? I'll pay whatever extra monster fighting fee you want. It's fine, but we need your help. We need it bad. We need it now. I said, all right, I'm willing, but how can I get there? I said, I've made an arrangement. There's an Air Force base here, and there's an Air Force base just north of Baltimore. So we're going to send a taxi to come and get you at your house. They'll take you to the airfield, and we'll fly you here. I think we can have you here in about an hour and a half, which is, love if you could get here sooner, but that's what it is. But as soon as you get to the Air Force Base, there'll be a high-speed helicopter waiting for you. I said, okay, I'll be, I can be ready now. I can go now. I said, great. The taxi will be there any minute. So, it all happened. Well, maybe, but he was feeling brave.
Just like he was for the gummy monster?
Yep, I was pretty brave. So the taxi was indeed there a few minutes later, and it had a police escort, so they were able to go really fast to the airfield, because the mayor of Newport News called in a favor to the mayor of Baltimore. So they got a police escort to the airfield, and it was this big, really, really fast military helicopter that they were using. Because, like I said, Newport News is a military town. It's also like a shipping town. Like, stuff comes off of boats at Newport News. Anyway, the point is, they got him there pretty fast. They were actually able to get him there in just under an hour. So right off the helicopter, the mayor and some military officers were there. Ollie had seen the monster on his way in. The robot monster. It was this big, it was a big crazy robot. It was vaguely humanoid. Do you know what that means? It's shaped like a person. It wasn't as big as the gummy monster. It was about 2.5 stories tall. So it was the size of, maybe more like 4 stories tall. Like the tallest house on Charles Street. It was that tall. And I said, so I'm assuming you tried, shooting it and stuff. And I said, yeah, it's, Elsa, stop fidgeting. I really don't want to say that again, honey. Yeah, it's whatever it is, it's bulletproof, grenade-proof. It seems to have some sort of, force field around it. I said, all right, well, tell me about this freeze ray thing. Well, yeah, so it's terrifying. It's got this, looks not quite like a laser, but kind of like a laser. It's this blue beam that fires out of its eyes. And we know it's coming because this big crystal in its chest flashes. And then the blue beams come beam comes out of the eyes. And it just freezes, kind of whatever it touches. It's gotten people, it's gotten cars, it's gotten buildings. It made this whole weird ice beam at the beach. It fired into the ocean, and then this big beam of ice floated up to the top. I said, oh, wow. Are people surviving being hit by it? I said, we don't know. None of them have thawed yet. It's not like, on land, it's not like a big block of ice, but everything's frozen. And, I mean, it can't be good for people, I'm sure of that. I said, yeah, I guess not. So they showed us some video that they had of the robot. And it looked like it was out of focus, but all the time. I said, yeah, that's that force field. We can't get anything through it, and yeah, it makes it a little bit hard to see. I said, well, I think you better get me down there. And they said, all right. So they got in the helicopter again and got Ollie to a nearby rooftop. And they said, put me off to the side, if you can, of the robot. Now, they were a little worried about flying the helicopter. They were worried that the robot might, shoot at the helicopter with the ice beam. But the robot didn't really change its path when the helicopter flew by. It just kind of kept on walking down this one street in the center of town, zapping people, zapping things, zapping cars, zapping stores. And as they're flying, the general guy said, and the thing is, it seems to be getting faster and faster. Like, it's not burning up energy. I don't know. It's weird. It's getting more energetic, moving faster, bigger beams every time. I said, that is strange. So Ollie sat on the roof there and watched very carefully. He didn't want to be noticed, of course. He saw the beam, and the chest crystal flashed, and then the I-beams went out. And when the I-beams went out, I noticed that it snapped into focus for a second. The fuzziness went away, I mean. Just long enough for the I-beams to go out. I thought, it's got to drop or change its force field to fire the I-beams. I think that's our opportunity. And he kept on watching, and he also noticed that if you looked very carefully, the fuzziness, the force field, went in around that crystal in the chest. Almost like the force field didn't cover the crystal. So I called the general. I said, where have we even, when you fired at it, can you tell me a little bit about where you targeted? I said, yeah, well, we mostly have been targeting the legs, the hips, and the head. Fired a few random pot shots other places, but honestly, we spent a lot of time firing at the head. And then when that didn't work, we went for the knees, trying to knock it down. I said, all right. And have you tried, ramming it? So I said, yeah, we did. It didn't work. And some of our guys got injured because they rammed a tank into it, but it just crushed. So ruined some expensive equipment, and yeah, 2 of my guys got broken bones doing that. So yeah, that doesn't work. Whatever it is, it's heavy and solid. I said, all right. Well, you got some sharpshooters here, right? And said, yeah, I've got some of the finest sharpshooters in the coast right here in Newport News. I said, all right. I need a couple of them that are going to be brave, because they're going to need to be in front of this thing. The general said, my soldiers are brave. I'm not going to put them at risk for no good reason, but if you've got a plan, they'll execute it. I said, all right, well, here's the thing. Here's what I'm noticing. You notice that every time it's about to fire, that crystal flashes, but I think the force field doesn't cover the crystal as well as it covers the rest of the robot. So I think if we focus our fire on that crystal, You might be able to break through it. So I said, all right. Well, I've got just the sort of thing for this. I said, oh. So no small arms fire here. We've got a gun that fires a bullet the size of your tentacle, Ollie. And I've got a sharpshooter here that's trained on using it. I said, great. I'll have him hit that crystal. So they got the sharpshooter in position about a mile down the road from where the monster was, the robot was. And on a weapon like that, you work with a spotter who has binoculars and helps you figure out the math of how to shoot the thing. Because it's a complicated thing. It's not just point and shoot. You got to take into account the fact that the bullet is going to drop to the ground at just as the same speed as if you dropped a rock on the ground. So it's going to be moving down as it moves forward, no matter how fast it moves. So you got to take into account a bunch of math to aim to the right spot. And the spotter helps with that. So they set up, and the monster's moving around some, so it was tricky. They made their calculations. They said, all right, ready, fire in the hole. They fired their big, big gun. And it was a direct hit, and it went smashing into the crystal. Smash! And bits of crystal you could be seen flying everywhere. And at that, the robot stopped. It stood still for a minute. And then it started reaching in toward the crystal with its robot arms. As if it was trying to do something. They couldn't tell what. And then, all of a sudden, a panel just below the crystal opened up, about the size of a door, and a rope came out of the door. Then 4 people came sliding down the rope. And they hit the ground, and they were running as fast as they could away from the robot. And nobody knew quite what to think of that. And they ran. And sure enough, really just a few, maybe 30 seconds after they got to the ground and started running, the head of the robot caught on fire. The shoulders caught on fire. And then the whole chest exploded, and robot's parts went everywhere. I mean, luckily all the people had cleared out. But there were just gears and sprockets and bits of glass and a robot head just embedded into the buildings and stuck into the street and flung for miles. Well, the military folks had figured that they should, arrest the 3 people that came running out of the robot, and they got them. It was close. 4 people came running out of the robot. And they got him. One of them tried to get away, but the other 3 realized that they were pretty much caught. And Ollie caught up with the one that had run away and tackled him. He was in a side alley. Ollie radioed in his position, but in the meantime, Ollie said, all right, while we're waiting, you're going to tell me what's going on here. And the guy said, well, it was a brilliant machine. It didn't have time to make the force field wrap around the power crystal. That was a mistake. And you figured it out. I thought that everyone would just shoot at the head. The head is what lasers are, but no. It got it right into the power crystal. I said, so what was the power crystal? It's just like a battery. You see, the eye lasers, they steal the energy from the things that they hit. So every time we fire the eye laser, it's a net harvest of energy. We have more energy, more power in the robot every time we fire the main weapon. It's a brilliant design. It's a brilliant design, and you broke it, you mean person. I said, mean person? You're terrorizing a city with your crazy robot thing. They'll be fine. They would have been fine. I thought, it freezes them so quickly it doesn't break the cell walls. We tested it. We even tested it on ourselves, not all of us, but on Henrik. We froze Henrik, and he was fine. I mean, he had a headache, but no permanent damage. I said, well, still not allowed to stomp around the city in giant menacing robots, so, you know, you're going to be under arrest now. I said, yes, I know, I figured to have some sort of arrest. So they hauled them away and brought them up on charges. The mayor of Newport News gave Ollie the key to the city. He said, any time you're in Newport News, your money's no good here. Free lunch, free hotel, I'll even take you out for drinks. And I said,
Key? There's a key to the city?
yeah, it's sort of a figurative, symbolic thing, but yes, a lot of cities have a key to the city that they give to people who they're really grateful to. And Ollie got this key to Newport News, which I've heard is a lovely town. And that is the story of Ollie and the freezing robot.